Speed is so important for everything that you're gonna do because the faster you just move through stuff and you're like, wow, that was so cringe. What I've found with people who have been doing this for a while is that from their experience, they know a couple things, but they don't necessarily know how the entire thing works together for purposes of making sure that they know how to monetize. There are things that I really wish that I knew when I was first getting started in the music business. As an actual music artist, I started as a classically trained musician when I was 4, learned a bunch of instruments, and then I started writing music. And I just found this love and passion for lyrics and coming up with melodies and applying what I knew in the classical music realm space. And so I started releasing music in my teens. It's quite a journey, okay? From learning to songwrite, to play the instruments, to perform for the first time. That was a whole thing. And then to make music videos and then figure out how to fund everything and then start your own music business. It's just quite the journey. So having gone through everything and then eventually just being like, I really want to think like a lawyer. I really want to be able to protect myself. And then going to law school and then being like, I might as well just start a cute little law firm. Why not? So here we are. I want to give my top kind of things I wish I knew in no particular order of importance, but this was just top of mind. So let me synthesize it. If you're excited, get your gavels, hit that like button. Let's get going. So number 1, I wish I knew when I was first starting my music career, the importance of really figuring out what I wanted to do, because that is a whole process of you just got to go through it as a creator, right? So it's going to be, what kind of artist do you want to be, right? Are you work for hire? Are you a studio musician? Are you the kind that likes to be a producer? So you're, behind the scenes, so to speak. Do you want to be the lead singer? Like once you have a vision for who you are, that's important because, even with me, I started to, get this vision of being, so I came up with Miss Crystal and I'm like, I'm going to be Miss Crystal. Just came to me one night. And then after I decided that, I go, okay, so now I need to like come up with some, more songs and start to find producers to work with, 'cause I don't know how to produce. And, at the time I was like a homeschooled kid. I didn't know anybody. We had just moved to Arizona. And so I was like, all right, this is really hard. And then I reached out to producers. Everyone ignored me fairly. And so I was like, all right, what am I going to do? So I started to learn music production. I'm like, I guess I have to like learn to be a producer in order to do this. So I learned music production. I put together my first album, and then I got like my school. I was in the honors program. So I got the school to pay for the production of the album, and I sold it to them like, I'm going to talk about politics because I was a political science major. I just figured it out. I was just like, I'm not going to have anything hold me back. But I had to figure out what I wanted to do because when I started producing, I'm like, well, am I a producer now? And then when I was able to get some producers to kind of listen to my demos, that's really what they were, right? I wrote songs, I produced, I did all that stuff, but they were glorified demos. I was not that good, okay? And when I got some producers to listen to my stuff, I was like, well, I was a co-producer on everything. So eventually I had to kind of just figure out, am I someone who has other people write songs for me? I was like, no, I really like writing songs, but I'm okay to collaborate. And then I started to figure out my brand. And these are really tough things. And it's not, for some people it just comes right away. They're like, oh, I know exactly who I am. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, I was so, inspired by certain artists. And so figuring that out takes time and you have to just execute, right? Speed is so important for everything that you're going to do because the faster you just move through stuff and you're like, wow, that was so cringe. Never doing that again. And, like one thing that I kind of took on super early in my career was just the red hair. And so I had, fire truck red hair for a decade because it became part of my brand. And it became part of my brand just not as like a musician, as a, as well as an artist. But then when I went to law school and I became a lawyer, I became the redheaded attorney. So in any case, you kind of figure these things out as you go, but it's important that you go, not just, figuring out what you're doing, but number 2, things that I wish that I knew, getting started is consistency. All right. And this is an add-on to the first. Consistency is number 1, because even if you're not doing the exact thing that you want to be doing, and I was talking to someone about, or with someone about this the other day, and I go, you're figuring it out. You're kind of doing this one thing. And now we're trying to bring this one thing that was kind of successful into this whole other thing, right? And now we're putting music to it and we're trying to figure out how to like merge the artist. So I go, consistency with just showing up from the music creation to the release to creating the content to just sitting down with yourself once a week and like writing out what the hell are you doing with your time, right? What's the vision? Because time goes super fast. I don't care where you're at, even if you're not starting your career right now. This is applicable to you, okay? This is applicable to me. I do it every single week still. But consistency is the thing that is actually going to propel your career forward, because if you're still doing something to work towards the goal, which you should have and hopefully figured out for the step 1, which is figuring out what's the artist that you want to be or producer. Like, what's your goal? Are you trying to build a label? Are you trying to be like the next biggest hip hop label around? So just having a vision. So you have the vision. And now we're going to be very consistent in making sure that even if we have the day job and the family and all the obligations, that we're working towards it every single day, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? So consistency, super important. And I like to even use this channel, Top Music Attorney, at some point, because I was trying to figure out like other type of content for Miss Crystal, my music brand. And I was like, people don't want to just have my music shoved down their throat all the time. They may or may not like my music, and maybe they like me as a brand, so they follow me. And I go, what else can I share about what I love? The kind of food that I eat, the kind of food that I, cook. I really am interested in like music business education because, I'm like in law school and like all this stuff. So early on, I started trying stuff. So actually on my Miss Crystal YouTube channel is where I started to release some of the educational stuff. And I'm like, here's what I know about marketing. Just thought I would share. And at some point, it just started to like confuse the audience because the brand was a little inconsistent. It's like, hey, I'm like trying to do dark pop music, but then also, hi, I'm going to law school, or I'm, out of law school, and now I'm a lawyer. So I ended up separating them, right? And I go, I just want to make sure that if I'm giving you guys educational stuff, it's not about me. It's about me literally, trying to help you. So once we started Top Music Attorney, this was 4 years ago. 4 years ago. And, we've had videos that kind of like went up and they went viral. I did like reactions to music videos and just stuff that was really entertaining, but it wasn't aligned with the brand mission of what we were trying to do with the channel, which is to help you. I go, if I'm entertaining you, cool. But like, I really want to figure out how to make these videos about like my best marketing tips, my, best copyright law, what you should know and how to do it. Because I'm like, as soon as I do those videos, they flop. Total crickets. I mean, it was like embarrassing getting through like those first couple of years to figure out why and just being like, you know what? It's not hitting because it's not resonating. And I have to try to take myself out of it because like my feelings are all, I'm putting in all this effort and time. And then funny enough, actually February of this year, we dropped our first Dear TuneCore ... video. And this is where I was kind of talking about one of my cases. And, like I said, coming up on, at the time, 10 years. Being an attorney, I've been in the business since, I was essentially 4 years old. And at that time, I'd already released 1,200 videos on Top Music Attorney YouTube. Done a lot of content, okay? And the content from that point on, and also that point going backwards, all the same. But that video really kind of started to change the game for us. And it just brought a lot of attention to the channel and I guess credibility. And I don't even know. But the point just being that was based on all those things I just told you of trying to figure out what was the mission. The mission was that I was going to try to give you guys stuff that helped you. For those of you who are like me. And the you and me working together is like, we're just trying to do this ourselves, right? So I go, that's my mission. And so then with the, consistency part, 4 years, 1,200 videos. And then stuff started to do good. And it's been really cool because, now obviously we're growing and we're at, whatever it is today, 64,000. We're on our way to 100K. And it's really cool. But that was not because all of a sudden I woke up and I'm like, hey, here's a video that's like the magical thing. No, it was just all the stuff taken together and me practicing and, whatever. Become your own record label, which is literally if you're like, hey, I want to start a record label. Cool, I got you. Understand the entire music business. I want to set up my LLC. I want to do the marketing. It's a lot. So for example, sync licensing, for example, music marketing, it's significantly cheaper than anything you would ever get from a law firm as far as all the stuff that comes with it. And you want to make 6 figures from your music career and you want to do this for real. Like I'm going to give you what you need. All right, so number 3, when it comes to just what I wish I knew when I was really getting started with, not just my music business, my music career, but like anything that I've done. But it's to really share the process and the progress. So for you kind of working on, your business venture and your music career and your music label, whatever you're doing, the thing that you have that nobody else does is your story. Your like why of why do you do what you do? And only you can pick up your phone and tell someone that. And, I said this to someone today, I'm like, I know so much about what you're trying to do because you've told me. And I'm like, you are, so engaging and interesting and whatever. And I'm like, please do a 30-second video sharing something really simple. I wrote this song because I have a DIY studio that I built and this is how I did it. Just literally something that is applicable to you, that's on topic with the stuff you care about and hopefully with your music career and all of that. But then just showing your progress and process is something that's always going to be great because, only you can do it. But people just love, like, it's a comparison thing. Like, if we're being totally honest, people love to compare. We compare ourselves with everyone else, and that's really what's happening. And someone's like, what does your morning look like, and your breakfast, and your workout, and your music creation process, and your, CD release plan? You could just share all of that. So I wish I knew that that was something that people would find super interesting, and I would just start sharing, because the content creation process was just so painful for me to like really get into it and take it seriously, because I'm like, it just seems like vanity. I'm taking 200 photos to find the one. And I'm like, this just feels silly. Like, I have these big dreams, and why am I doing this? And, so for all those things, just sharing like something really meaningful. And pro tip, when you make content in particular, thinking about the audience and not yourself is how you're going to get really good. Every time you make something, it can't be to give yourself a little pat on the back. It can't be a little highlight reel. It can't be about you. It has to be about, are you entertaining someone? Are you educating someone? Are you giving something of value to someone else? And if you think in that framework, you will start to win with your social media content. Number 4, on things that I wish I knew when I was first getting started, audience harvesting. All right, so if you want a more deep dive on some of my best music marketing methods, which, they just work. They work for all the different things that I've done, from literally my music brand, Miss Crystal, but, my law brands. And I was talking to someone today, and I was like, if I can make law and my 3 tips on trademarks interesting, you can do this, okay? But anyway, so with audience harvesting, just wherever you're at, with your career, even in the very beginning, when there's not that many people, making sure that you, get an email or you get a phone number. For me, it's emails, it's just easier. But being able to take control and ownership of your audience is really important, because we build up a platform for social media, and it's like, whatever. 1% of your audience is going to see your posts anyway. It's already a challenge just for the algorithm issue. But if you actually take ownership of the audience, where you can email them and have a guarantee that the 100 people on your email list are going to see your blast about your new song, or they're going to see your new video that you're releasing, or whatever. That's a way that you kind of guarantee that you are building something that is valuable. A lot of companies, when we talk about this, a lot of companies are building audience lists, contact lists. They're building intellectual property, so the copyright in your music that you own, the trademarks of your name that you own. But anyway, specifically with audience harvesting, I did not start this early enough for like any of my businesses, and it's just so important. So please, literally as soon as you're done watching this, I want you to go. I have used Aweber forever. I would love to try MailChimp, because they have an app that you can put on your phone. I love using my phone for quick stuff. So just pick something. And most of them have like a free tier, so you can just get started. And then as you grow, you'll pay, whatever. But please start one, and then, start adding to it and promote it and send emails. And one of my students had asked me this on the student huddle, and he's like, what should I send? I'm like, that's a great question. Talk to me about your brand. What are you doing? I go, just think of it like this. On the frequency of how often you should do touches, you should do them probably a lot. If you're giving something of value, if you're just sending in one email after another being like, hey, go listen to my song on Spotify. No. Think through, hey, was thinking about you, fan. Love your face. Sending you positive vibes. Just want to let you know. Hey, here's an exclusive little thing. If you care about my music, I'm giving it just to you, nobody else. Like, just think about stuff like that, okay? 5. If you guys are super excited and you haven't liked this video, please give the video a nice big thumbs up. Number 5 on things that I wish that I knew when first getting started with my music career, the music business, okay? So this was what drove me to go to law school, is that it was the whole, like, I don't want to get taken advantage of. And it's funny enough, the worst instances of like people trying to screw me over happened when I was in law school, which kind of proved my point. But anyway, so I'm like, I just want to go to law school so I can think like a lawyer and, protect myself. And then, what I realized, and particularly with what I do, is that you don't have to go to law school. If you want to, love it, do it. But, especially with what I release on this channel, it's to help you to stay legally protected and that you just know all the good things. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I understood like the full spectrum of the music business, because it's quite the thing when you are doing it yourself. You're a music producer, you're an artist, and you get a certain experience in the music business. And then when you have to deal with contracts, and you have to deal with negotiation, you have to deal with getting your stuff copyrighted. Maybe you're selling something. Maybe you're licensing something to, a TV show. So it's all a very different experience, and there's so many pieces. And what I've found with people who have been doing this for a while is that from their experience, they know a couple things, right? But they don't necessarily know how the entire thing works together for purposes of making sure that they know how to monetize what they're doing, how to make money, right? Ancillary income, like all this stuff. So for me, just I wish that I had kind of gone in a little bit harder in regards to music business knowledge, specifically understanding how to collect my royalties, right? Understanding like what are the best ways to make money right now? Am I just gonna like sit here and be all upset about I'm not getting paid enough on my Spotify stream? Or am I gonna be like, if someone can hire me to make an instrumental bed for their wedding song or something like that, and I can make a quick $1,000 or $1,500, which would be like a couple hours of time, starting to think like that on how do I utilize my skills? What do I need to learn? Right? Maybe I do need to learn how to go and do something. So getting you in the framework of thinking like a music business owner, which is why my whole thing is become your own record label, start your own record label, build your own business. Okay? I'm excited. I'll see you guys on the next one.